Mario. Okie dokie.
Alright, we are playing some Super Mario and the Cursed Castles. And I know that this is sort of like, I guess, a not as hard ROM hack of Super Mario 64 that is very popular. And it's also very well made, and I think Lud is going to be playing the 121 star category today. And so we are starting off with Line Clear Frontier. And I guess you might have seen this game before. I mean, these blocks might look familiar to you if you've ever played a certain little game called Tetris, I believe. And so basically what you're going to see starting off here is Ludwig is going to be playing through the first stages in Line Clear Frontier, and you can immediately tell that there's a lot of emphasis and focus on like actually having good technique in this game. Where you can actually see him doing jumps and actually doing some really tight wall jumps and such. I guess we'll get to that later in the run. But for right now, just having a focus on like clear, good basic technique, I guess, is what's most important from what Lud has told me.
Here we go.
But even though it's easy, or I should say easier, I guess, than a lot of other ROM hacks, it doesn't mean that it's poorly made, because this is actually a really well-made ROM hack. There's obviously a lot of time and effort that's gone into stage design and definitely the music, because the music is actually specifically made for this game by Technomancer. Some pretty good music too, I have to say. And so I guess what you can also say is that the story for this game, just to go through that really quick, is basically that King Boo has basically taken over and started siphoning the power from the stars. So we have to save the Mushroom Kingdom from evil King Boo. As he has laid a curse on 3 special castles. You can see Lucas now enter the first castle, in which we will clear some stages and then continue on to the next.
Here we go.
And only by obtaining enough healthy stars, we can actually beat the evil King Boo. And there's only one person able to do that. And I don't think it's Sonic the Hedgehog. It has to be Mario, right? Yeah, let's just assume. A good 3D Sonic game. Who's ever heard of that, right? So you can definitely see Lucas actually doing a lot of, I guess, some smaller and some bigger skips to actually progress through the stage faster. You could see him do a backflip there to get up the tower instead of just going up all the way through the timed blocks. And that's something you will see a lot in this run. It's just a lot of, I guess, tricky jumps and minor optimizations to get ahead quite faster. And also, I think that's one of the things that's really cool about this run is you can get ahead quite fast without having to resort to really tough glitches and really tough jumps. I mean, unless you want to do that, in which case I'm sure you can. But I guess that's also why it's, I would say, a good starting point. If you're looking to get into ROM hacks, I would think this game is a good starting point for that. So now Lud, of course, is going through the stage to get the 100 coins plus the 8 reds. It's quite often that you do the two in the same round on the stage, seeing as you have to get the reds either way, each one counts for 2 coins. That would make sense. But there are some stages where you actually won't do that. We'll get to that a little bit later. There are some instances in which that is not faster. And also one cool thing, I guess, about this stage, Line Clear Frontier, other than the name, I mean, the game designers for this made up some really clever names for stages and worlds. They were good with their alliteration, as you will see in later stages. One thing that's interesting about this is you can tell from a lot of stages in SM64 and in ROM hacks too that there's a lot of things that change. You see Lud doing a really tough jump there, by the way. A lot of things will change based on which stage you actually select, such as bosses spawning and, you know, certain minor changes to the stage layout and such. Not so in this stage. The stage is actually quite static.
Here we go!
You also saw Lud getting the final red coin there, and I think it's interesting to see, like, a lot of these red coins are basically grouped with a lot of the red elements in the stage, like the red blocks and red flowers and such. That's good stage design. I like that. Looks like Lud is about to finish up with this stage, which is pretty fast. Now we're gonna progress through the game. And one thing that's actually quite cool here is, if you look at, I guess for those of you who know the game, it's pretty obvious, and also for, I guess, ROM hackers too, in general. But one thing that is cool is that each stage in the game actually corresponds to one of the stages of SM64. It's just being replaced. Much as you would see that there are 3 castles that we have to open and go in and solve the stages in. And each one of those castles actually corresponds to one of the sections of Peach's castle in SM64, which is quite cool. The only room that really doesn't correspond to anything in the original SM64 game would be the credits room, which I am sure we're going to be seeing at some point later. I think we might be going there. That's what I've heard, at least.
Here we go!
The terrible King Boo. I don't think Bowser is even to be found in this game. I guess I decided to go somewhere sunny for vacation. I don't know. Like, I've heard that Isle of Golfino might be nice this time of year. And now we are going into Sunken Sandstrand. And this is actually, interestingly, not the second, technically the second world of the game. But we are going here first because, well, it's faster in terms of routing to do this now instead of later. And this is a very cool stage because you can definitely tell here that having good jumping technique is very important. There's a lot of big distances and big jumps you have to do in order to actually clear these stages and actually get to the stars and the coins. Which basically just goes to show that if you have good technique, you can do this. As you can tell, there will be a lot of wall jumping. I know that in SM64, especially with the wall jumping, they're usually done with much tighter gaps between the walls, so actually doing wall jumps will be easier. But you will see a lot of places here where the distance between the walls is actually greater, so actually hitting A at the right time becomes somewhat important to do. And I think that's a good sort of, I guess, practice for a lot of things you would do in other ROM hacks too. And now Ludwig is going to do something interesting to these bones. Normally, you can climb up this, and by doing a very specific, tough wall jump here, you can actually get up that wall quite fast instead of going all the way around. But you have to be careful too, because even though you can go up here, you can go up on the right side. But it's actually quite easy to start clipping through these. I guess these are ribs, I would suppose. Bones are hard, man. You know how it is. So Lud is actually making sure that he is on the right side there. So he wants to go up and do that wall jump and barely get the ledge grab there, I think. And thank God the floor is sand. Of course you do get stuck, there you go. You do get stuck, so that does waste a little bit of time if you miss. I guess we'll talk a bit more about sand in a later stage too, because it's there's quite a few like teeny tiny optimizations you can do at the same time here.
Mamma mia!
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There's a little bit of delay here, so I can't tell. That's fine. Actually, we were talking about the stage yesterday when we were looking up this game to do a little bit of prep. And one thing we noticed is that if you do practice runs and you do a save state, then a lot of textures actually will not load because of the way I think the N64 handles transparency sometimes. And so these little, like, shell islets that you see Mario jumping on here actually will not load. So it was a little bit of an invisible long jump tutorial yesterday, I think. The long jumping is hard. Sometimes we fail. That's how it goes. That's just potential time saves for upcoming runs, right? Had a few of those in my career. And also, I guess one other thing you can tell, like, these stages are pretty darn big. Like, distance-wise, there's a lot of ground you have to cover, so optimal movement, of course, is very important. You can see Ludwig actually traversing the castle here. He's going to do a pretty tight triple jump to get up here. By pretty tight, we mean pretty darn impressive when you do get it. There you go. And now he's going to point. There we go. He's going to lure over one of these shy guys so he can actually get over to this leaning tower. And I don't think it's the leaning tower pizza, but you never know. But instead of actually going all the way around on corals, he just uses that shy guy to get a little bit of help to get over. I mean, everybody likes the boy. If you don't like the boy, I'm not sure if I trust you. And like before, we're doing the 100 coin star now, it looks like, and Lud is also going to be doing the 8 reds for this. And you actually didn't get buried in the sand there. Very nice. Yeah, that strat looks really, really tough. And I guess that's also one thing that is sort of like when you do speedruns of a game, you sort of have to just make it work. If you can't seem to get a strat, sometimes it's better just to do a different one instead. A very nice jump to get up on the coral there. They look like mushrooms, but the game basically says they're corals, so I guess I'll believe the game in that regard. Got them all. Very nice. A lot of these, or at least some of these, blue coin block sequences that you find in this game are a little bit hard to get. It's quite difficult to get all of them sometimes, so it's going to be a little bit challenging in some of the later stages in that regard. So one cool thing that you might not know, or have noticed, I guess, if you're watching without sound, is that a lot of these textures for this castle are actually made from sand. So Mario can get stuck if he jumps onto them in the right, or I guess the wrong way, depending on how you look at it. You could also see on the door downstairs, they reused the texture for some of the stuff at Hazy Maze Cave, which I think is pretty cool. Nice little homage to the real game. And so the camera also, I guess we could say this, that the camera is a little bit different here from SM64, because where the SM64 camera would stop if it met an obstacle, that is not so for this game. So sometimes the camera angles might be a little bit weird, and you might have to move around a little bit in order to see what you're doing more clearly, but you know, Ludus, he's a pro. He knows how to work around these things.
Let's go.
Coming up now to Port Obella, which is my favorite stage name, I guess, in the entire game, just because it's really clever. And Ludus is going to do something here that is quite tough, which is he's going to try and wall jump all the way up here. And he actually made it. One thing that is, I guess, a little bit more difficult for Lud is that he's playing with a gamepad with a stick. And I know a lot of ROMAC players actually play with a keyboard, which would make that section a lot easier, since you don't have to deal with the joystick in order to do those wall jumps, because it's quite precise. That pillar is really, really narrow. That makes it really tough when you actually have to deal with a 3D stick. Very nice triple jump to get up there. Lud's jumping technique is definitely on point today, I would say.
Here we go! Let's go!
Definitely keyboard would make a lot of this movement easier, I guess, because it's a little bit easier to make sure that you're doing exactly the right thing. But playing with the gamepad, it's a real Real cool. You could see he actually got burned there, but that was a very nice recovery. Nope. Mario must suffer. If Mario doesn't suffer, how do you really speedrun Super Mario game? And one other thing too that I was talking to Ludwig about when we were prepping for this yesterday is you can tell with the stage design, this really does look in a lot of cases like, say, a sequel to the original SM64 would. It's definitely got like a very good mix of textures and music and art style, and little things here and there that just make the game look really high quality. I think that makes it a really, really fun game to watch and to play. And like we said about, you know, controller versus gamepad, there are a couple of sections later in the game where there are strats that would be faster if you were to play on keyboard, but that with the gamepad just makes it almost completely impossible to do, at least reliably. So there are some things that Lud is going to be skipping because basically, you know, even he has his limits to what he can do. Believe it or not. It's easy to forget that Ludwig is a human being sometimes with all his skill. Yeah. I have a feeling that you might pick up some ROM hacks later that would make you break your gamepad out of rage, And so basically now Ludwig is just finishing up the stage, getting all the coins and such that he needs. Another hundo stage, another red coin stage as well, of course. And here's the thing that that's a little bit like easy to miss, I guess, unless you know they're there. But there are some coins, flowers around the Toad statue. Very nice, finishing up Portobello right now. Which is kind of sad because I think the name is really great. It's clever. Love it. But at this point, you know, this is where the alliteration starts coming in, because we are now going to Bully's Blazing Bastille. So we're gonna see, I think, a pretty big skip here now, where he's basically just gonna ditch the shell and skip this entire section where he has to go jumping up to get to that star. And he's going to burn Mario's ass yet again, just to get up there. Seems like a worth the sacrifice in my book. I actually have to say, I think the stage design is a little bit more generous than Lava Land was, because it was quite easy to fall into lava there. I mean, I'm sure most of us who have played SM64s when we were kids got to LOL and then quickly realized that the game got a little bit harder than we thought it would. But this is generous, nice big platforms, nothing wrong can happen here, right?
Here we go!
Yeah, no, if you do fall, then you're screwed. That's definitely a thing. And that's also a cool thing I think about the strategy did before. Like, if you ditch the shell in the wrong spot, there's just no way that's ever gonna be okay. Like, then you're done. That's it. You get to try again though, so that's good. Yeah. Yeah. I also think and I think that's a cool thing about this game too, is like, the routing here is very good. It reminds me almost a little bit of Banjo-Kazooie in a lot of ways, because things are sort of like laid out for you to follow a certain route. I think that's pretty cool. Of course, Banjo is a completely different game, but it's sort of like reminiscent in that way.
Here we go!
Oh yeah, that does not look fun. Let's see, we're not quite there. Oh, there you go.
Here we go!
Maybe it's the fire spawner thing
Let's go!
that it just sort of just flies into. It was a little bit hard to see because it went so fast. I guess going fast is kind of what we're going for here, though, isn't it? And here you can see again, because these pillars are like so big and so tall and so far apart,
Here we go!
you sort of have to do... Everything is THI, almost, in this ROM hack, because everything is so big compared to Mario.
Let's go!
But now it's actually looking like we're going to meet the namesake of the stage, the bully itself. Himself, herself? I don't know. Themselves, I suppose. And if you've ever played like this fight on the 64, you know what it's about. Just basically lure the bully to the edge and drop him off.
Here we go! Let's go!
You might say he pulled you. now we're actually doing the reds, and I guess now it becomes quite obvious why you don't actually do this as part of the 100 coins. Because you can see they are spread out throughout the lava. If you are colorblind, then I apologize. It's really, really hard to tell where they are. And so now that we have reached 28 stars, we can actually go and do stage number 2, which only requires 1 star to get into, apparently. Because there is no point to go all the way up here and then go all the way back down. Gotta save the frames. It is? I don't believe so. You would say masculine, but that just means masculine. So. If you can't tell by my thick accent, I am not a native speaker. But now we're coming into Taiwan Temple here, which is, like we said, actually stage 2. But we just come here now because that's easier. I might have said that 5 times now, I don't know.
Here we go!
But I actually also really think that this is a very cool stage because it looks a lot like, I don't know, Ruined Kingdom from Super Mario Odyssey 2. A lot of these stages actually have a lot of really cool sort of... They remind you of other games a little bit. Because, you know, you have the Tetris stage, which reminds you of Tetris, and then you have this one that might remind you a little bit of, you know, maybe a Zelda game, or the Ruined Kingdom in SMO. There are some later stages with some definite references to, or at least, maybe not references, but they sure do look like other stages in SMO. You know, we'll get there when we get there. Gets it. Exactly. There's like great variation in the stage designs, and there's a lot of really cool things here and there that you're gonna get to that in some stages later, but some things are hidden really well, and then there's just like a lot of great challenges, and you don't need to be very reliant on having perfect technique. It's like one of those Super Mario 64 ROM hacks that you can watch without feeling like you want to tear off your fingernails because it looks so hard. But then I do know that a lot of ROM hack runners are sort of like gluttons for punishment and, you know, like their games to be really, really tough. So, yeah. I guess it all depends on what you're looking for in the game. That was really scary, by the way. You said that's not good, and then I knew I had to wait about 10 seconds before I could see what was not good. But then I saw the blue coins. But you know, also ROM hacks is like that's a tough topic as a general to discuss because people, you know, are going to want different things from it. I mean, if this is your jam, like it would be mine, then that's cool. And if you want something different, that's cool too. Of course. It takes all kinds. You can tell Luke going for the hundreds points again.
Here we go! Yahoo! Here we go!
Speedrunning SM64 ROM hacks is a niche hobby. Well, that's almost insulting. Just joking. Of course, you know, it's definitely niche when you play games like this, but I think that's also part of like what makes it fun, because there are so many different things you can actually play in the ROM hack community. So, you know, I think that's good. You know, variety and a little bit of different things just makes it all better.
Here we go!
Speedrunning obscure niche games. We don't do any of that, do we? And that would be Taiwan Temple. So now we are actually going to fight the boss. We are actually going to go and see Boo. If you can find the right way, of course. That's might be a little bit important.
Here we go!
Yeah. And also you saw Lut here going to speak to the Toad, of which there are 3, just like in SM64. And there are red coins here as well, in these boss stages, so Lut has to go get them. And so, the very basic sort of like concept here is that there are these 3 areas there, I suppose, within the stage. And you can see there's King Boo. And as soon as Lut goes to get him, he actually moves to a different area. So where Boo goes actually sort of dictates a little bit where Lut is or in which order, I guess, Lut is going to collect these points. To an extent, there are certain cases where he actually will not. But for the most part, we're just gonna chase the ghost and see if we can actually beat him. And I mean, I really also like the way that these little sections within the stage look. It sort of looks and feels a little bit like a fever dream in ways. But for the most part, of course, Lut's just gonna traverse through this. Mario doing Mario things. Guess there's nothing a lot worth noting here. Maybe aside from the fact that the model used for the King Boo here is really quite good. I mean, if you compare it to like the N64 Boos in the N64 games like SM64 and Mario Party and stuff like that, they were quite low poly, but this is actually really, really cool. So what Lud did there actually is he went and got the red coins first, and then he went to get King Boo in the other area and then came back here. For no other reason than it being faster, of course.
Here we go!
And then you get slightly weirdly placed key, which actually turns out to be a star and the key.
Okie dokie!
And the keyhole is kind of sort of just like on the edge of the door. Like it's... Yeah. And so what Lud did, of course, is just doing a save exit there to get back out faster. And I guess one thing that I failed to mention before is that you start like really high up on top of that pillar or tower or whatever it is, like in the game. And so you sort of do this trick where you actually roll off. Because as you're coming out of a roll, Mario is invulnerable to fall damage. You can just use that to get down from really high places. So please. And now we're actually up here in the Cursed-Bound Castle, which is a very, very cool looking area. Which also has a lot of like really high pillars and tight jumps and cool technique. We're gonna see a lot of fancy stuff here. Yeah, that one's tough. So what Lud's trying to do in that one, I heard the blah, didn't quite know what it was, but then I saw it. And so you have to get up top here, which means you have to be a little bit precise in the way you jump. See, Lud's taking a different route now to get up a different way. Here's another one of those really tight, specific wall jumps again. Very nicely done. And the bonk, for good measure. And as we mentioned before, you know, those wall jumps, of course, when you haven't taken out a keyboard, they are a little bit tougher to do. But Ludwig's doing them for you because he loves you that much. And so what you can do if you are really good with your height is that you can actually... Oh, that's too bad. You can actually make that last jump without doing the landing on the smaller pillar. You can actually get it on top of the taller one first try if you so want. So Lud's gonna do sort of like a cool fall of the waterfall here now, where he's going to do a dive. And he got stuck in the sand. So what Lud's trying to do there is actually, if you line that up correctly, you will bonk on the wall, which makes you just land on the ground without sticking your head in the sand like that, which is a little bit faster. And it is boss time. These hands might look a little bit familiar to you if you haven't played this game before, of course, but we added wind, which makes it tougher. And other than that, you basically do the same thing as you would in shifting sandland. And then there's a bit of a climb, of course, to actually get the star. You know, the game makes you work for it.
Here we go! Let's go!
I have faith. You can do the thing. Let's go. There we go. So that ledge grab, of course, you know, it's very finicky and very precise, as you can probably tell. And of course, falling all the way down is very costly, so it's probably best to get that in the first go, but as long as you have backups, it's fine. Yeah. But now you did it once, and that was easy, so you know, doing it a second time, of course, is going to be equally easy, right? Yeah, no problem. See? Easy peasy. Alright. Yeah, marathon strats, that's the thing.
Here we go!
But of course, that's also like one of the cool things I think about this ROM. I guess it seems like there's a few different ways to actually do things, and which means you can basically start out with the safer strats, and then you can sort of work your way up. And I think that's you know, lowering the entry barrier a little bit is pretty wise when it comes to ROM hacks like this. Because if it's really, really hard from the get-go, then of course, you know, that's not going to be fun for new players. Elud also informed me that these cacti you see around actually basically they're not plants, they're lava. If you touch them, you suffer horrible fates. And you can even hit them twice in a row, which is quite costly. Ah, there you go. You can really tell I'm paying attention, can't you? So Lud is, of course, again, collecting the hundreds to get the star. And it seems like this is like one of those stages where the coins are a bit more spread out, but you do have these pokies, which actually give you blue coins, and that's, you know, going to be helpful. Yeah. There's one of the examples of like the game is sort of trying to do its best with the camera here and there, but sometimes it's a little bit hard when things are stacked pretty close, like the red coins up underneath the ceiling there. But that would have been even tougher, I suppose, with the camera being aware of obstacles too.
Here we go! Here we go!
And that would be it for Cursebound Chasm, I believe. Or is it one more? Nope, that's it. Gotta keep my count up here. From the heat to the cold, now it's time for Permafrost Palace. Which I imagine is what the Mushroom Kingdom looks like during wintertime.
Here we go! Go!
Yeah, what we're doing here, of course, is he's trying to cheese the stage a little bit. Normally, the game wants you to go over the icicles or the pillars of ice and just sort of follow the path. But we're speedrunners. We don't have time for that. We gotta do something else. So a really precise long jump will get you to the pillar. Yeah, it makes me a little bit sad. I actually had to mute the stream, so I can't hear the music. I feel a little bit robbed, but yeah, can make that happen later.
Go!
And we just passed the sole penguin of the stage. The penguin has no mother. There's nowhere for it to go. It's just out here, living its best life, and if you really want to, you can take it with you, I suppose. It won't do you any good, but it's there. I respect this penguin.
Here we go! Go!
SM64 ROM hackers evil? Nah, I don't believe it. But then, of course, we're still waiting for one of the tougher, or I guess more evil bars for this stage coming up later. So I guess we'll revisit that when we get there. That's a whole discussion. He seemed to be going down into the snow a little bit, didn't he? Sometimes I hear the real names for all of these enemies and I just go, what? Why is it named that? The chuck, yeah, I get. The spin drift, I don't necessarily know that I get. Oh, you actually get stuck in the castle floor too, that's very cool. Must be a really deep, like shaggy carpet, I suppose. And the swooper I can get. Swooper is like it swoops down and gets you. It's spin drift? No. No. It will always be the boing thing for me. So it's basically snow, just differently colored.
Here we go!
Not sure how I feel about Mario walking on brown snow. That's a little sketchy, I think.
Here we go! Let's go!
Yeah. If you've ever played, I'm taking it back to Banjo-Kazooie. If you've ever played Banjo-Kazooie, you know what this is about. As soon as you go underneath the water in these icy parts, you just start dropping health like nobody's business. And you can sort of go to refill it, because there's a heart a little bit away from the ice, but of course, you know, that wastes time and nobody wants that, so trying to be optimal here is definitely preferable. But even that can sometimes go. You can immediately tell, like, just from these little trips under the ice here, Mario is losing a lot of health. And it's good. So not only swimming technique, but also jumping technique. Both are quite important here. You can do it. I have faith. Yeah, there it is.
Here we go!
I suppose one thing that I could mention now that we're talking about swimming in icy water, with electricity being as expensive as it is right now, in Norway at least, some people have taken to ice bathing instead of taking a shower. I'm not entirely sure what the story is there, but that's what they're doing. And so now we're getting to fight the Womp King. He looks a little bit angrier now, a little bit more scary, a little bit madder, I suppose. I would too, if I had to live in the castle like made of ice. But the Womps do look a little bit different here. Yeah. It's BLJ time to get into Shroom Grove. We're gonna borrow these stairs and do some interesting things. There we go. And so, Shroom Grove is also one of those places where you can do some really, really, really tough wall jumps to clear some areas and get up faster. It's very precise as it is, even if you do it with a keyboard. So doing it with a stick is very tough. Luke tried to demonstrate to me yesterday just how tough it is, and I don't think I would have the guts to try that either.
Go.
Yeah. But you did tell me at least yesterday that you were going to try a couple of times if time allowed it. And from my understanding, you don't seem to be 20 minutes behind right now, at least, so it's a plus. So we're sort of back to talking about, I guess, the look and feel of this game, because it's changing a lot between worlds, and now we're sort of almost in Zelda territory as far as the look and feel here is concerned. It looks at least a lot like something you would see in Ocarina of Time. Of course, I can't tell from the music, of course, but it's not very nice of you to keep pestering these small ghosts, I have to say, Lord.
Here we go!
Yeah. Maintaining a safe distance, 6 feet, that's... It's interesting how the camera sort of goes underneath Mario when you finish the stage. Because of course, each stage replaces one of the ones in the original game. Because, you know, that's how everything is set up, of course. Being a ROM hack, you sort of have to adhere to, you know, how the original game was actually made. Even though there's a lot of stuff you can do with a ROM hack, you know, there are still limitations, of course. But it's interesting to see, like, you know, how they solve these issues. I think that's part of what, at least from the outside, makes making a ROM hack seem like a lot of fun, because there's a lot of things that you sort of have to figure out. And if you are sort of like raised like a hacker and a coder, then, you know, those things are usually kind of fun. I guess that's why people hack Doom into smartwatches and stuff like that. do you not like Doom? It's a rootin' tootin' fun time too, it sounds like. Is there such a thing as an SM64 FPS ROM hack? Asking for a friend. I'm assuming chat might know if that's the case. And of course, now it's back to coin collecting, getting all the reds, getting the hundreds. You know how this works. One thing that I've noticed, at least with the red on red, it's sometimes a little bit hard to spot. Like, say, when you went into the lava and did the reds with the shell back in Bullets Blazing Steel, it's sometimes a little bit tough to sort of see where things are. And that makes it fun too, because then you can sort of like hide things in plain sight. That's a very nice fall there, but real 10 out of 10. Yeah. There's a 60 FPS mode on the Kazi made. Well, definitely have to check that out then. Also, I'm not sure if I said their name correctly. If I didn't, then I apologize. But I think that's cool. You know, that's sort of like pushing the limits on, you know, what I guess a ROM hack of this game is supposed to be. Because then you're sort of going from one genre to the next. Damn. Yeah, that is pretty amazing.
Here we go! Here we go! Let's go!
Also, sidebar to you guys in chat, Peanut Brain Engine, that's a really, really good band name. That's a great indie band name. Love it. Oh, yep, you sure did. That can happen. Speedrunning is just about managing time losses anyhow.
Here we go!
Very nice. Oop, there we go. And so now we're going over to Skyward Sanctuary. And I don't know if this is like a thing, but it sort of reminds me a little bit about Sky Sanctuary from Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. It might be purely coincidental, but it has that same mood and same feel to it. I kind of want to move here.
Here we go! Let's go!
Yeah, definitely think the music here is like one of the really good things about this ROM hack. I mean, I know from other ROM hacks that people tend to reuse the music from other games, sometimes JRPGs and sometimes other Mario games. I mean, I heard the X-Naut Fortress theme in the run before Ludwig's. But actually having like music made for it, I think is a very good choice. Gives it that little bit of extra uniqueness, if you will. Again, shoutouts to Technomancer for making the music.
Here we go! Let's go!
It's only a matter of time. A matter of time.
Here we go!
So what is the world record for this, by the way? I don't know if you ever told me.
Let's go!
Wow. You kind of just want to stay here for the rest of the run. You can definitely see that. And yeah, definitely with that said, I have tremendous respect for people who make ROM hacks and actually make, you know, music using the available sound fonts and everything. That in itself is a tremendous skill. I guess one good example, like, even though it's not, you know, technically SM64, I guess not SM64 at all, Toby Fox's Earthbound hack with Megalovania. That's a pretty good example of that, I suppose. Hey, nice block. Well, I mean, you didn't die, so... I don't want to see how that's done. You can tell me later. I don't want to see what that looks like. Yeah, the Halloween hack was... I don't know really what to say about the Halloween hack is. I tend to get, like... I don't like disturbing imagery, and I really don't like disturbing imagery with, like, 8-bit games. That's, like, one of the worst things for me for some reason. So the Halloween hack was a little tough, but I respect the work that was put into it. And this is another, like, really big stage. There's, like, a lot of levels and a lot of things to go through. It's a perfect stage for hiding stuff. So we're just going through the paces now, getting the hundreds, and Ludwig hasn't died yet. Very impressive. Just need to be extra careful, that's all. But I have to say, it's really neat, like in you know, a structure like this, with all these platforms and all these coins, and working to get 100 and getting all the reds. Flame spawners, that's like the neatest thing you could put in there. Alright, fine. Yes, of course, it could have been worse. Could have been invisible walls. Could have been TikTok Rock all over again. I like that homing electro orbs are called danger Ouijas. This I like. And so now we are going into the second blue fight. And if you were here for the first fights, basically this is like the same thing. We chase him around a little bit and try to get him, and then eventually we do. And in the meantime, you get to enjoy these textures, which for some reason I really love. It reminds me a little bit of Pulse Man, if you've ever played Pulse Man. You really should. It's the first game that Junichi Masuda ever made. If you're a Pokemon fan, then, you know, that name should be familiar to you. Someone's yelling Ludwig in chat. Let's see. I can do it for you. It's 649373839393938. I'm hoping that number is a reference to something. Just like the first boss stage, of course, you have to get the reds as well. Maybe preferably without getting Rosa, of course. Oh. Oops. You got this. I see people in chat saying they used to love Iggy when they were kids, which I guess brings up the inevitable question of who is the best Koopaloo.
Here we go!
So you have no opinion on this matter? Okay, I see. I don't know. I've heard it mentioned here and there. I'm not entirely sure. But I will only accept Lemmy as the answer for best Koopaloo, by the way.
Here we go!
There we have the flattened key again. Very nice. And now we're heading somewhere cool. Somewhere really cool. Yeah, nice.
Here we go! Let's go!
Well, I'm sure he used to be a Koopalik at some point. So now we're heading into Burboro. I'm sure there's a lot of more interesting ways to say that. And Ludwig's gonna try everything. He's gonna BLJ here in order to try and launch himself to get the star. And if the launch goes well, it's gonna be a sight to behold. But I know this is a tough trick. Aw, that's too bad. Yeah, no, it's definitely a tough trick, but if it did work, then Mario would basically launch like a rocket, and then you could get one of these stars that's really high up in one of these books. And also, if you ever wondered what New Donk City looks like in Christmas time, then I guess this is a close approximation to that. Gonna have to do some tough wall jumps here.
Here we go!
Nabbit for best cupola. Well now.
Let's go!
So we're up to 70 stars. Oh my god. We got 51 more to go. You can see all these coins up here. It's going to become obvious later exactly what they're for. But for now, we're actually going to go say hello to the king. We can just go straight in here, like nobody's stopping us at the gate or anything like that. I'm not entirely sure if that's what the king wanted from the staff.
Here we go!
Oh, that's beautiful. That's the best save I think I've ever seen. Oh, that's very good. Who needs BLJs and all that stuff? You can just do that. So we're gonna wait for a car. Basically, that's what's happening. Then Luke's just gonna hitch a ride in order to get these blues. Which would be a lot harder if you had to do that without the car, of course. That sounds like a challenge to me. Ooh, just barely got up. Very nice. It's really too bad we don't have Cappy in this stage. I think he would be very useful here. Gonna hitch a ride yet again just to get these points here. stage is 100% pain either way. Well, I guess some people do like the pain when they're playing. You know, it makes it a little bit more worthwhile. I think it's very safe to say that speedrunners in general have to sort of be, you know, a little bit like gluttons for punishment, like I said before. If you're speedrunning because it's fun, I don't really know what to tell you. Almost got hit by that car. Oh boy.
Here we go! Here we go!
Also pretty cool that the office receptions actually look like office receptions. It has that whole a little bit too corporate feel to them. I've been to some offices in my time that look exactly like that, so. And this actually is the last stage of Castle 2. Which means that after this, we are going to Castle 3 and we are going to kick some boo ass. There's a lot of stuff in the way and the scaffolding is... Being unable to ledge grab them, that seems almost unfair.
Let's go!
So which of the castles is your favorite in terms of stages, Mr. Vancouver? It's definitely a tough name to pronounce. I think I'm just going to say LLL when we get there, and then you can do the rest of the work at home. Yeah. It's almost the same. Very close. But you can definitely tell, like with Castle 3 and now, the names got a little bit nuts, a little bit crazy. So there are a couple here that us as non-English folks will have a couple of errors saying, but we're gonna try our best just for you. I definitely think I will say that Castle 3 has one stage that I am really hyped about seeing. Because I haven't seen this game a whole lot, personally. But there is one stage that I think is very, very cool. I think anyone who knows what's coming up in Castle 3 will probably know what that is.
Let's go.
Even in Super Mario World, you know, it's always best to go in through the side door or the back door. And of course, loot is going this way because there is a stage in the garden behind the castle. And quite a stage it is. It's time for Macabre Manor. Which is basically Big Blue's haunt, only really big. It's Big Blue's haunt, only the Blues have money. That's what this is. Yeah. Spent all their money on their house, you know. So you can sort of see a cool thing here is that you notice this reflection. You will see a bit more of it when it comes back here, I suppose. But there's quite a cool concept going on in the room. I've also been told that this section here with the blue coins is very, very tough. And it's very hard to get all of them, if even possible, with human hands. Wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't a little bit tough, you know.
Here we go! Here we go! Let's go!
I have to say I'm with Maki on this. Who needs human hands anyways? Just get some, you know, proper robotics in here instead. Should make everything better, right? It also seems like the blues are a little bit faster in here. So you can sort of see the concept now. If you look real close in the background, there's a reflection and you can see the platforms. But you sure can't in the foreground. So Ludwig is actually sort of using Mario's shadow a little bit here as a guide to where the platforms actually are. In addition to, of course, using the reflection. Well, if I change my hands with the mobs, as a programmer, does that make it so that my code is cleaner? Yeah, that's gonna haunt me. That's a very philosophical question we got going here. That's, I don't know if I like it.
Here we go!
Maybe, but it won't help with spaghetti. You need spatulas for that, so... Damn. Well, I guess I will stick with my clean spaghetti code for that. But it definitely gave me something to think about, thank you very much. Oh, baby. Programmer jokes. Nothing better. So you can now see, of course, that the platforming does tend to get a little bit tougher as we progress through the game, because now the stages are harder. So, working through the stacks of books here. No, it's I would assume it's quite easy to bonk and do one little thing wrong. So, it's a good thing that a guy like Lud is doing it, who knows what he's doing in this game. What I sort of like about this part is it reminds me a little bit of Sunshine in some ways, where you just have like this big black void surrounding an obstacle course. So for this star, we're actually looking for, the 5 secrets. And so Luke is going to be looking for certain paintings with a young blue on them. It's a house of very dapper booths, I have to say. With that top hats and the monocles and the little twirly mustache. Definitely seems like the upper class of booths.
Here we go!
Does he actually put it into the keyhole this time, though? Oh, wow. I'm not sure that's a good door design, like if you're entering the key like on the side of the door and it still opens. But now, of course, we're entering the stage, whose name I can't actually pronounce. Last you light. Yeah, it's LLL, that's what it is.
Here we go!
I think it's from Lapis Lazuli, which is like this blue-colored gemstone, I think. The L stage. Yeah, that's the one. See it on asteroids. Yeah. La la la. That's what it is. It's a tough stage too because you can see the lava is down there and it's blue because, you know, gimmicks and stuff. But it actually also has this thing where it sort of rises and then descends a little bit. So there are parts of the stage that will be made harder by this. Right now, of course, we're up in the big tower, so not as much here. But later, there's going to be some fun with that. I have faith. Yeah, so here you can actually see it quite clearly. It's yeah, so it's trying to reach one of these platforms by way of the lava there. And that's not easy, but it definitely sticks and does it. Very nice. Didn't even hit the freaking fireball. Very nice. So that's gold split. Well, in that case, any split's a gold split here. You're doing great. Yeah. So we talked earlier about like the different sort of art styles and, you know, themes for each stage. I think this one's cool because it doesn't really sort of remind me of anything.
Here we go!
You know, it's just like its own little thing, and I think that's kind of neat. Sometimes damage boosting is the right strat. And so what's happening here now is, because this volcano that's going up actually doesn't have any slope physics, he can just sort of do a proper jump to actually get up to the slope and then just run up. Because who needs slopes anyways, right? Yeah. Might just be like an oversight, I guess, you know, with everything. When you're making stages that are as big as this, I guess sometimes it might be easy to overlook some things, but you can just run up there. No, it's not jank, it's perfectly programmed. This is the way slopes actually work in real life. Yep. I mean, Infinite Void, I don't know how you get around, you know. Some of us do. So if you fall in, can you actually get back up at this point?
Here we go! Here we go!
Cool. Oh yes, we are entering treacherous Treetopolis. I thought I did a pretty good job with that. But it sure is a name and a half, that's for sure. Yeah, somebody really liked their words when they were doing this. But it's very cool. It's very cute though. I mean, who wouldn't want to see a Wiggler do a handstand? And you have to wrestle him. I didn't see much wrestling going on there though. Unless you count your jumps as drop kicks, in which case, yeah, sure.
Mamma mia!
Whoa. But who has time for caution? This is a speedrun we're going for here, Mr. Lid. And we are also even sort of approaching, you know, I guess this would be qualified as an endgame, seeing as this is the third to last stage that we're going to play. do like this stage too, though, because it reminds me a little bit of sort of like both like Pianta Village, if you remember your Sunshine lore, but also a little bit of the treetop villages in Donkey Kong Country. You didn't have a great time with DKC2. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And here you can also tell, like, the camera is doing some interesting things, which makes it sometimes a little bit hard to see. I can hear Luke moaning, that's generally never a good sign, is it? You can tell, like, it's difficult enough as it is to do wall jumps, and then you have to do them off the wall onto a platform, like this with the ledge grab. It can be quite tricky sometimes. Well, one thing you can sort of think about, like, what would SM64 be like?
Mamma mia!
Oh no! Dang. I just saw. That was unfortunate. Well, now you know what not to do, so just do it again and don't do that. That is true. That is very true, and it's very important that we realize this. Yes. Yes, now we do know what's down there. Death. It's good that we know. But as mentioned, I think like the best camera for SM64 would be if we made this into an FPS game, seen through the eyes of Mario, and then we make it a VR game. Boing. Gotta do it for the fans. Give the people what they want. And of course, you know, using the fly guy like that makes it a little bit safer because there are less platforms to traverse. And that was Luminous Lantern Leaping. It had something to do with the stump. I'm assuming that you need to find the stump. Let's hope everything is fine with that. Hope that there's a rational and reasonable explanation for that, which I'm sure there is. Well, it is quite a big stage. You do have some options. I'm assuming that going where you might find a star, that would be perhaps your best bet. Oh boy. I'm looking at my notes for the star, and it literally says slide star YOLO. I guess that's what we're gonna see.
Here we go!
Oh, there you go. But slides are the best part of the game. No, I used to love the slide stages in SM64. I was like... But then, you know, this is Norway. You know, we grow up with sledding and stuff like that in winter time, so I guess that might be why. We actually do have in Norway, in Oslo, like a sledding hill the kids use, which is 2 kilometers long. So if you want to experience like the SM64 slide experience in real life, I guess that's one way to do it. Maki, if you're talking about the sledding hill in Norway that I spoke of, if you finish that in under 21 seconds, I guess you would get a ticket. Speeding ticket. And maybe also a fine for all the poor kids' arms you broke on the way down. Well, this sure looks right to me, Lud. Why didn't you go for the yellow?
Here we go! Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go!
No offense. Treacherous tree topless. And no offense, I was gonna say, but if you would have gotten that red coin star before the 100 coin star, I would have laughed. Really loud. Mostly, I think, because that is something that I would have done too. So, you know, you could technical words, but I don't know how Toad got there, and I don't know what he's doing there, but he has a star. He's cool. By the way, chats, do you know why everyone likes having Toad at a party? Because he's a fun guy. I am not sorry for that. And so we're now entering Celestial Citadel, which is like... I don't know, this looks like this game... This game's version of Moonside if it was Earthbound. I am not sorry for that joke, by the way, Monkey. I did it just, you know how it is.
Here we go! Go.
Even Lud went quiet, it was so bad. Well, it's always been your redeeming quality. This, technically, I guess I should say, is the final stage of the game. So, normally you would come here last. And everything is sort of like turned up, like upside down a little bit. You can tell we have thwomps firing, little fireballs at us and stuff like that.
Here we go! Go.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what it sort of reminds me of. It does remind me a little bit of, Diddy Kong Racing. Final stages in Diddy Kong Racing are also space themed. They sort of have the same color scheme going and everything. It's kind of neat. Didn't think about that until now. It's very cool. It's beautiful, like, no matter what. It's great. But as much as it is the final stage of the game, we don't play it last because it's not the best stage of the game. That's a very nice jump, by the way. It's a pretty tricky jump to get. It saves quite a bit of time.
Here we go!
Which is across the astral archipelago.
Go.
I guess the good thing about having a stream on mute is I get to not listen to Mario's wahoo, wahoo, wahoo. So we're going up there. So we gotta do more BLJs to make sure that he gets a lot of money, is that what we're saying? And this was marvel atop Mount Marquez. We were discussing this yesterday and figured it might have been a reference to something we didn't know. Maybe it's something really dirty. Never know.
Here we go! Let's go!
So let's now, I was going to wrap up here with the 2 remaining stars. Maybe because he's the bad guy and you're the good guy. Ooh, splitting music and sound effects into different streams. I like the idea of doing that. That's good.
Here we go! Here we go!
Very, very hyped about this. That'll be great.
Let's go!
No alliteration, no nothing. Just cozy quarters. And I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, maybe so a little bit, that's true.
Here we go!
Alright, fine. Fine. But I will say, this is like, I would be here. This is no problem. You could lock me up, throw away the key. I would be very, very happy here. It even has Paper Mario TTYD, which I was shocked to learn that Ludwig von Kuba has not played. I really do not know how to process that information. Now we're going into the ant farm because as we learned yesterday, I can't even remember or pronounce the word. Because we're gonna see it here in just a second. Or at least as soon as Lud finishes the stage.
Here we go!
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Let's go!
Myrmecology is the study of anything that relates to ants, which is why we're using that in the ant farm course. And as fun as the stage looks, of course, you still have to do the jumps, make sure that everything you do is technically sound, which can be quite distracting when you have an N64 in the corner like that. And 2 copies of Paper Mario T2ID. And since we were on the topic of randomizers, in chat's just gonna throw it out there that PK Scramble is one of the better randomizers out there, at least the ones that I've played. And of course, any Earthbound game is gonna be sweet. PK Scramble sure is a good one. And I mean, it's technically on the topic of ROM hacks, so it's not too far off the course of what we're doing here. Yep, there is an ancient cave too for Earthbound. That's true. PK Scramble is a little bit different though. It's like a completely different thing. So, like the one, yeah, I'm sure you'll like the other too. And of course, if you like Ancient Cave, then you gotta play the real one, which is Lufia 2. Which is something I think Mr. from Cuba has been known to dabble in a little bit here and there. Ancient Cave, Lufia 2. We're on the topic of randomizers here. Well, Ancient Cave is it. You didn't have to do it with the glitches, you could have just like finished the game twice. I mean, the task is over 3 hours. And there's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon too. Wow. What a room this is. Love it. Definitely could. I actually do have all of these consoles.
Here we go! Let's go!
course, inside the TV, there's gotta be this little beautiful world that you can also go into. I think these are like a newfangled 3D television, is what I've heard.
Here we go!
All is green and all is well.
Let's go!
I think this is the only star that has made me somewhat irrationally upset because of one, how good it is, and second, like I would struggle so bad with this too if I had to try and do that myself. But yes, the GameCube does have a handle. So that's it. That's all the stages. Now we're just gonna go and, you know, kick some boo ass. That's right.
Mamma mia!
That's a beautiful, beautiful bonk. It's important that we get a couple of these. Because, gotta do it for the fans, no look. We have quite a lot of them in chat here today, I think. I think you mentioned this and sent it to me one time. That would be very, very good for another certain Mario game that we played now and then.
Mamma mia!
That looks really hard. It was sometimes when you say these things, it's a little bit tough to watch in retrospect, but it's I can definitely see why that will be hard. But then it sort of goes, I think, very nicely with like the difficulty level of the ROM hack in itself is that things might be hard, but they're not like too hard. It's not like completely impossible if you, as long as you go at your own pace and sort of know what you're doing. You're still gonna have to do it, so. Well, it's important that we show the people, you know, what this game is all about. Almost done washing the evil away. And we get to go do some fun stuff afterwards. Or at least you get to go and do it, and I get to sit here with my popcorn and have fun watching it, so. But I have the utmost faith in your ability to make this look real good. And it's very fun to watch, of course. I mean, as you in chat probably have guessed, like long ago, I don't really know that much about this ROM hack or how to play it. It's so fun being on commentary. I must say though, like for but now Boo is gone. I mean, you defeated the evil King Boo, and his curse has been lifted. Now you get to play around in the White Palace, which is basically darker side if you've ever played Odyssey. And the White Castle. Oh, is it White Castle? It says White Palace in my notes. Oh, there you go. Now see, you know, chats and moderators trying to confuse them. You know, that's not very nice. Confusing the foreigners. But this definitely looks like serious time. You can tell that people have had really, really bad times in that place. Those look real. Those look a little bit, those are fun-sized platforms, I think is what the Americans would say. Nicely done. Very good. I have to say, like, stage design-wise, this is very cool. You know, you have the shooting stars in the background, and everything is a little bit serious. It looks like the final boss in a Pokemon game. In a good way. So basically the final stage here is like, Lud is going to impress us with his insane Super Mario skills. Like the video game connoisseur that he is. You can handle the pressure. I've seen you do tremendous things under pressure, good sir.
Here we go!
Oh wow. I will say, just like from an N64 perspective, this fog is like really good. It's it's good, easy to tell at least. That's true. It's very cool. It's sort of reminiscent of the fog that you see some places in SMO2, where fog can be the worst enemy. I have the utmost faith. I'm gonna shut up and let you do your thing. You can do the thing. Nice. That was great. That was really, really nice. So cool, so calm, so collected. It's the climb of triumph, not the climb of shame.
Here we go! Thank you so much for playing my game.
GG, good sir. It is a 236-15. Yes, indeed.